Hey guys, it's Mythologist here with Upper-Hab-Karl. He won the most recent poll for the skill breakdown and tactics breakdown. So we'll get into Psycharium and check him out real quick, right into the Mean Grider. Let's go over there and check that out. So on our base abilities, we have the Collapsible Shovel. We have the Mark 7 Achilles, I think it's a Heavy Stubber, and then obviously Rocks, and then our Barrage ability. But we'll go in real quick and check out all the weapons. So it's a Latrine Shovel MK. I think that's a 19, I believe. Defense is the dump stat, and then the perks are Flak and Unyielding, just for bosses, and, you know, Flak armored things, which are pretty common. And with that, the blessings are going to be Confident Strike, because if you're by yourself and not... That chain toughness is very good. I haven't found a way to live without it, but I'm sure somebody could have some other thing to do with that one. And then with that, Opportunist, rending versus stagger enemies. Since you're rending a lot, you're staggering a lot of enemies, you can push block. Ogryns are good at shoving people away, right? Just because of their mass. And then with that, we have a twin-linked heavy stubber, Achilles MK7. I probably butchered that. Collateral is going to be the stat that I don't use. I don't know if that one buffs any weird damage types, but I like the way it's set up right now. I think it's really fun. And for those perks, Unyielding and Flak, basically boss damage and gunners, heavy gunners, any kind of gunner really that's below, anybody that's not wearing carapace, you're pretty much good to hit. You're going to have to take the shovel out for the carapace and use the 4 to bash them down, or at least I do. Blessings for that are Charmed Reload, so 5 bullets loaded in reserve on critical hit. And then Overwhelming Firepower, so plus 10% strength for every 4 targets it hits. Last 2 seconds, stacks 5 times. And that Overwhelming Fire is to do pretty extra boss damage, right? And the Charm is just kind of keep that reloading. And then we'll drop into the Curios. So, like I've said with a lot of these ones, I do have toughness reduction on all my Ogryns because you can stack that up pretty high and it really does help him. Not to mention, it's just, I think, something the Ogryns need. But for that, this guy has a little bit different things since not all toughness. We got max stamina since the gun requires stamina to use to fire accurately, to fire like in head ranges. And with that, ability combat regeneration, toughness, and then revive speed because I want to get people up faster. 1 toughness there, damage resistant gunners, and then stamina regeneration. And then we also have toughness regeneration, toughness, and then combat ability generation. So those are usually pretty standard. It's usually toughness and then some kind of stamina because I need extra stamina. And I'll show you why here in a little bit. So that's just Upper-Hab-Karl. Let's go into the talent tree. So steady grip. When you're gripping your weapon, you regenerate toughness. Toughness regeneration while bracing your ranged weapon. Solid. You're going to need that. I can't find a way around that. And then with that, we have heavyweight. So damage against bulwarks and crushers. Plague Ogryns and Reapers also receive the damage. You also receive reduction against them. Smash them. I found this one a little bit better than the best defense because against single targets, like bosses, that shell is going to generate more if you're in combat, right? And you want something that's going to hold up to a boss. And then with that, we have the Big Friendly Rock. We all love the Big Friendly Rock. I love hitting people with rocks. I have a few videos on it. And then that one didn't count, so Big Friendly Rock replenishes the charge if you hit a weak spot or hit no enemies within 5 seconds. 5-second cooldown. Just fun to throw rocks. I would totally trade my gun if I could get a bag of loot or like some skulls I could throw at people. Yeah, that'd be fun. So payback time. So 15% damage after a successful dodge or being hit by an attack. You're going to try to dodge as much as you can. You're going to get hit. That means you're going to get extra damage. Can't hit me again. So damage resistance for gunners. 4-second cooldown. This is pretty good just because that can really stack your resistance and you're a big target. So it really helps with mitigate that range damage you're taking, or at least I've noticed. And then we're going to come over here to Point Blank Barrage. So essentially, I can read all that, but I think you guys can probably read that. It essentially buffs your shooting a ton. Reload speed, and reduced brace movement, and close range damage. So, and then with that, we have bullet bravado. So, while point blank is just average, replenish toughness for every shot fired, and 15% how much on reload. So, you're just generating toughness. And then I like hail of fire rending because that does a little bit more against flak targets. And if I need to go after a carapace target, like if it's in a really bad location and I have to save somebody, I will burn one of those down with that ability. But I don't tend to go after carapace army enemies very much with that particular weapon. And then we come down here a little bit on the right, so we pick up a reload speed, ammo stash, and then concentrate, sway reduction, spread reduction, recoil reduction. That's where the stamina drain is going to come in from, and that's why we need more stamina. Because it's per second, so it's 0.5 per second. It's not like the veterans, which I don't know if they've changed that one recently. I haven't taken a look at it. That one used to be 1%, so upping your stamina didn't do much. But and then with that, coward culling, so damage against suppressed enemies using allies and coherency, and then plus 25% suppression dealt. So when you're shooting your gun, you're going to suppress more and more enemies. This is pretty standard for most of the Ogryns I have over here. This little all the way bump over to the left. Too stubborn to die. That's that toughness replenishment. That's why that can really stack up for you. I've noticed it helps, especially in the Ogryn, but yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know. I like playing it this way. So, frenzied blow, so melee attack speed on chain hit. That just makes the shovel swing a little bit faster, right side to side and top down. And then dominate, rending on elite kill, just so you're going to get more rending in that opportunity. So, we're going to come over here to the right tree. We have mobile emplacement, so you take reduced damage while bracing your ranged weapons. You're always bracing that thing when you're shooting this. You're really going to need that damage reduction. Massacre, so killing enemy grants critical chance. That's fun, because critical chance will also reload your weapon. And that stacks 8 times. And then Lucky Streak, plus 75% critical strike damage. So that's just more critical strike damage. And then Burst Limiter Override, so this will augment your keystone, so it'll essentially have chance of triggering a lucky bullet that does not consume ammo when making range attacks. And then it stacks up range damage on kills. Perfect. Solid. Good shooting. So shot that triggers lucky bullet is guaranteed a critical hit if it hits. Maximum firepower. This gives you cooldown reduction on your abilities, which you're going to need. And then bullet storm. So range damage on lucky bullet. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would take for his gun running abilities. So nothing too big. We kind of come over the top, make sure we grab steady grip. Buster's barking upstairs. We have that one didn't count. Come all the way down here, go into point blank barrage, go all the way over to the right, down to the center. Make sure we pick up concentrate because that's going to narrow our margins down. That's going to help a lot more. Then we come all the way over to the left. We're going to really want that too stubborn to die. At least I do. I've noticed my health stops dropping once I hit 50% health. I just don't lose health anymore. With that frenzied blow and dominate, so you get some more rending in there. And then we're going to come down and grab pretty much the right side of this tree. I would love to be grabbing more things, right? I'd love to be getting like unstoppable momentum, but I just don't have enough points. Yeah, there's a lot of I would really like to have unstoppable momentum. That would be the next one I would get, but I just can't do it. So, so that's kind of his talent. So we'll just go over, he doesn't have any extra builds right now. So we'll go in here. He's actually the character I had to delete for Lower-Hab-Karl. So when they came out with the new Hive class, I actually had to delete this character and all his levels. I don't know how many it was. But that was why this is Upper-Hab-Karl, and then we have Lower-Hab-Karl. 2 different types. One's a Hive Scum, one's an Ogryn. So Rock, obviously you're aiming for heads. You can throw underhanded too to get kind of a different angle if you need to kind of toss something that's going to go over something. You can toss over things, like I've tossed over trains to hit people in the head. It just takes a lot of practice to get down, but it is tons of fun when you get it, right? We all love hitting muties. Do I not regenerate? I can't regenerate them in any way. Anyways, guess we'll wait on that one. So obviously we're going to get rocks back. So if you end up using all your rocks, they'll regenerate slowly. They're really good to hit muties with. Yeah, that's pretty much about it for the rocks. you can hit things pretty long range as long as you dial that in. It takes a lot of effort, though. Sometimes you miss a lot. So, shovel, obviously the strike down on that one. The one reason I like on this one is because it can almost one-strike muties plain. You notice that down strike, that right there, that can really mess muties up. And then, obviously for the heavy attack, we got one side, and then, yeah, it's just kind of like an X pattern, right? And then that one's just a single strike down. And then the light attack is kind of the same thing, except for a Vanguard in there, which that can really eat through crowds if you need it to. And then obviously the push block is a nice strike down. It's a thick cleave with the spike side of that edge. So that really does some damage if you can really, and it kind of staggers people really well. And as an Ogryn, even with your stamina regen, you're going to probably get that back a little bit faster than you think you normally are. So in general, I usually kind of use that to block push people and then kind of hit them in the head. If I have like a Rager on me, I'm going to block push them and then do that. Or our dog, you're going to cut that midair if you can, right? You're going to try at least. Sometimes they'll come jumping at you. You can push block them and then slice, or slice before the or after the push block. But that's that one. And then point blank barrage, obviously, when your ammo's getting low, you can kind of see how that's draining away. We're trying to hit heads as much as we can. You can, don't be afraid to duck down if you can, you know. Get that control button in there if you have that. That's also going to really help you. See, in there you can see my stamina draining pretty far away. But we still have that ability going. There it's gone. But our preferred prey are definitely these guys right here. Gunners, any sort of middle class, like you can see that chest damage, but against these guys, it does some, but it just takes so much ammo, it's unfeasible to really kill them like that. And I only really shoot them when I have that burst going, right? You can kind of see that. It doesn't do bad. It's not bad DPS, but you'd rather be in a Reaper or like the back of a bulwark, right? Like we're somewhere where you're hitting flesh. You don't need to be hitting armor with this weapon if you can't help it. And all these little guys are your prey, right? Anybody that has a mutie with them. See, double shot there. Sometimes those rocks can also, like, you can hit a chest of one thing and hit another. If they're real close together, you can hit two targets. Like, the rock will drop and fall on the other guy, right? How much time we got here? We're about 12 minutes, so that's not too bad. I really like Karl. I think he's fun. He has a niche kind of. He's a gut. He picks up heavy things and lugs them around. He's our Gun Lugger and ROCC. I wish they would buff this weapon, the heavy stubber, a little bit. I like this mark. But I think it needs probably either double the amount of ammo or a little bit more armor pen to be back to where it used to be before they buff crushers. But maybe that's their ideal. Maybe they want to level the playing field a little bit, but I'm not really sure about that one. So I like him even this way. I can function well enough. I've learned to adapt even with the downgrades kind of in the weapon. I would like a buff, but I'm not going to go begging for it. So that's pretty much it for him. Just throwing the axe around, throwing the rock around, and then just shooting at anything that's worth moving, right? Except for things that are heavily armored, because you're not going to be, and it does nothing to that shield. And you can kind of hit him through that little cross guard right there every once in a while, but not much. So, that was it. Looking forward to streaming tonight. I've been having a lot of really good games, been getting some high scores on my kill count. That's been a lot of fun, but and a lot of our videos are generating tons of views too. But thank you for the likes, subscribes, guys. I really appreciate you all out there. You're making a dream come true, and we will be back with Darktide probably later tonight. Good seeing you guys. Have a good night. I will see you then.